everybody, this is Payanna and welcome to my book club, and today I'm going to be talking about the third book in the Temeraire series by Naomi Novik, because I'm obsessed. So to recap, Laurence is a Navy captain at the head of a boat, and one day he captures a French ship on which there is a dragon egg. And the dragon egg hatches before they're able to make it to port, and Laurence finds himself being the master of this dragon, which he names Temeraire. This means that he has to now leave the Navy and join the Aerial Corps as a dragon captain in order to fight with his dragon in the Napoleonic Wars. There's some debate over what species Temeraire actually is, given that he's not a native dragon to British soil or any other breed that anyone knows of. They later on find out that he is a Chinese breed known as a celestial that is only meant to be for members of the imperial family in China. And this dragon egg on the French ship was destined to go to the Emperor Napoleon. The Chinese aren't too pleased about their imperial dragon going off to Britain in order to fight in a war. So in the second book, Laurence has to travel to China with Temeraire in order to sort out this diplomatic incident. After several assassination attempts, it is discovered that the Emperor's brother has been plotting against them along with his dragon Lien, and there is a huge confrontation which ends in the Emperor's brother dying. However, his dragon Lien blames Laurence and Temeraire for her master's death. Which brings us to book 3, Black Powder War. Now, I kind of assumed that Laurence and Temeraire were going to travel back to the UK and just, that was it, their travels were over and go and resume the war where it had left off. That's not what happens. A message is delivered to Laurence via a man called Taki, who becomes their guide later on. And this message is asking Laurence and Temeraire to journey to Turkey in order to pick up 3 dragon eggs that have been sold to them. Because the British dragons, none of them are fire breathers, but the French, Napoleon's army, they have fire breathing dragons. And obviously the British are hoping to get hold of fire breathers, and these Turkish dragons are fire breathers, so they're trying to negotiate that. They don't go by sea, like when they came to China, they came entirely by sea. They have these huge, great dragon transport ships, which are insanely massive, but the ship can't leave port because of the weather. And Laurence and his men decide they ask Tharki if he can take them through the desert on foot all the way to Turkey, which is what they do. And a lot of stuff happens. Whilst travelling through the mountains, they come across a group of feral dragons who live amongst themselves on their own in the mountains and prey on travellers in order to get their food. And Temeraire manages to convince them to join them in their journey. So the second part of the journey is made in the company of these feral dragons, and I love the feral dragons. They're just so funny because they just do not have any kind of discipline. They just fly around all over the place, terrorizing everything in the countryside. They're so brilliant. Once they start entering Muslim territories, they come across men praying, doing their prayers in the mosques, along with dragons. The dragons in the Muslim countries are also Muslim and also go and pray in the mosques. Okay. When they get to Turkey, things get complicated because nothing isn't complicated in these novels. They arrive asking to see the British diplomat, only to be told that he's been assassinated. They ask about the eggs, and they are escorted to the palace, where they are essentially held in a glorified prison, and no one will talk to them or tell them what's going on. Laurence tries to find out what's happening with the help of Tharki, who takes him to his contact. But yeah, it all gets very weird. They're building fortifications, and they also find Lien in the palace. She apparently has travelled from China in the company of a French diplomat in order to join Napoleon, and there is a very dark encounter with her where she tells Laurence and Temeraire that she essentially wants to destroy everything that they love because she blames them for her master's death. And she is a rather interesting character because she is albino. She's completely white with red eyes, and the Chinese always saw her as like something evil or unlucky. They don't like her, and even when they're in China, she's kind of kept apart from the other dragons, and her master, the emperor's brother, was the only one who cared for her. So she's completely devastated by his death, which is a side effect of her a battle she had with Temeraire, even though Laurence and Temeraire did not like directly murder her master, but she still blames them for his death, and now she has vowed to essentially strip away everything that they care about. She is pretty evil. She is a really kind of just a wonderfully strong character, and very, very evil. Laurence and his crew decide to leave Turkey in the night and escape and steal the eggs in the process, the eggs that they were promised. They managed to get hold of 2 and start travelling northwards through Europe until they get to Prussia and find themselves in the middle of the battlefields where Napoleon's armies are literally slamming the Prussian armies. And the Prussian leader tells Laurence that he has asked for 20 dragons from the UK for support, only they haven't arrived. So Laurence agrees to stay. Well, he doesn't really agree, he's kind of forced to stay until the British dragons arrive and they can help support them. Only the dragons never arrive, and Lien, who at this point has joined with Napoleon's army and joined Napoleon, a lot of battles ensue, and it gets dark. It gets very, very dark, because Lien transmits her knowledge of the Chinese and how they fight using their dragons, and because like I said at the end of the first video in this series, the Chinese, they know about dragons, and yeah, it gets very, very dark. Laurence and his men decide to try and get back to the UK as quickly as possible, only obviously that is the perfect time for one of the eggs to hatch, and it does. It hatches into this also brilliant character, this little female fire-breathing dragon, and she is feisty. She wants to have a go at everything, this dragon. She's amazing, little Iskierka. And she oh my god, she is so cute. She's so adorable. And as soon as she hatches, because like the dragons can hear what's going on in the eggs, and so Temeraire's been talking to her and explaining how everything goes, and she just comes out of her egg saying, Where's the fight? I want to fight. I want to fight something. And she's so intense. She's brilliant. And eventually they manage to get to a harbour, only it's blocked by the French, and who have dragons with nocturnal vision, so they can't even escape by night. But they eventually manage to escape with the help of Tharki and the feral dragons. And they decide to evacuate the Prussian soldiers back to the UK using the Chinese style harnesses that they had in China. The dragons would kind of ferry people from one side of cities to the other with these harnesses, like a kind of dragon bus service. I just love these novels so much. Just the imagination that went into them, all the kind of possibilities, everything you can do with dragons, because it really feels like Naomi Novik kind of sat down and thought, okay, we've got dragons, So I'm going to reimagine, I mean, she did just reimagine the world with dragons in it. How can they be used? What can we do with them? And going into all these myriads of different ways of utilising them. And it's so brilliant. Temeraire is also very passionate about incorporating the dragons into society and giving them more freedom. Like they were in China, they walked in alongside people in the cities and were basically like people, and they had jobs and everything, and they had more freedom. And he really wants to introduce that back home, and he's very, very passionate about what he's learnt in China about dealing with dragons. Because again, the Chinese, they know how to deal with dragons. So that's it for book 3 in the Temeraire series. There are 9 books in this series, so I am a third of the way through, and I've just finished book 4, and it's still brilliant, and I still love it, and I'm completely obsessed. So that's it from me. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Do share, comment, subscribe, and I will see you all soon. Bye bye.